Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching this, know that I appreciate you. It is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. I feel so much better than I did yesterday morning. So much better. I slept well. I woke up well. Thankfully, when the husband finally went to sleep, he slept well. Yay. He is right now hooked on anything Netflix, on specifically the topic of prison or drugs. And right now it's more so prison. He's watched a lot of different Netflix original series on children being locked up and how they go through the system, and then just the prison system in general, but then also the prison system as it pertains to, like, the last one he watched, he's continuing to watch it this morning. The last one he watched was about these two men that were locked up for a crime that they did not commit, and after 28 years they were being I don't have my Bluetooth. Oh my gosh, I gotta go back. I've got to have that. No, I don't have to have it. I'll make it work. But after 28 years they're being released, the unfortunate thing is that one of the gentlemen passed away. Before he could be, I need to let this up because you can't hear me very well. Passed away before he was released, but the other gentleman was released. And it just follows him as he, I guess, I'm only assuming this because I haven't watched it. It follows him as he not only goes through the process of being released, but being able to adapt to the outside world, because he was locked up as a teenager, 16 years old, and was released after 28 years. So a lot of the things that have happened in that 28 years, he has no true awareness of. He may have heard about it, but he's not seen nor experienced it. So this is a journey for him to get reacclimated to the outside world. So that's what my husband is finishing up this morning. Very interesting. I think I may actually watch it myself, even though I have said to my husband that a lot of these series that he's watching, they're very depressing. And, he's like, well, babe, they're informative. And yes, they are informative. They absolutely are informative. But they are a little depressing as well. So, but that one I may watch just because I think it is a very interesting story. And then it also happens in our native hometown of Chicago. So, yeah. So again, I woke up great. He woke up great. We both slept very well. That is when he finally went to sleep. He slept well. And it was absolutely is a beautiful day. My demeanor is totally different from what it was yesterday. But again, it's because I feel so much better. Yesterday I was in pain. Got traffic this morning in my little spot that I discovered to avoid traffic. And I got traffic here. But I was in pain yesterday. I wasn't feeling well at all. My body was aching. I don't know what it was all about, but again, I go see my doctor Friday, so after I tell her all of this, hopefully she'll be able to give me some answers, maybe even run a couple of tests considering my history, my recent history, and we'll go from there. So I'm looking forward to what God has in store for me today, and I'm excited about what today is. And it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week, but I'm excited about what today is. I don't know what God has in it for me today. I mean, I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. I watched last night this prophetess speak about something. She was actually, from what I understood, she was actually supposed to be speaking on another topic, because she's not only a prophetess, but she's an entrepreneur, and she's scheduled to speak on entrepreneurial on an entrepreneurial topic, and was somehow led in another direction. And listening to her last night, her first name is Tiffany. I can't remember her last name at this point, but it was actually very interesting, the topic that she did speak on, and I think it's interesting because it is a common thing, but it's taboo, and she of course went into much greater detail about it, and she went into the biblical speak about it, the biblical points about it. But what she spoke about specifically was a pastor that was sleeping with one of his members, who happens to be a teenager that, well, I can't say it was one of his members. I can't say that, because she did not specifically say that it was one of his members. She did say that it was, she did go into how pastors tend to do that. Some pastors tend to do that, sleeping with the shepherd, sleeping with the sheep. But she specifically spoke about this particular pastor sleeping with this 15-year-old, having sex with this 15-year-old, and how he was about to be exposed. And the sad part is twofold. Well, it might even be threefold. But the young lady lied to him about her age, so he thought that he was having these encounters with an adult. And it turns out that she's a teenager, a 15-year-old, and he's about to be exposed because he's about to be exposed, and they will have proof of their encounters. Those that expose them will have proof of the encounters. But I find it, well, and I say twofold and possibly threefold, is because I find it sad that this young girl, I can't even say young lady, this young girl thought it was okay to, one, lie to the pastor, and then two, actually strike up a relationship with this pastor, and fool him to the point where he thought it was okay to sleep with her, have sex with her. But two, I think it's sad because the pastor should know better and should behave better. Yes, he is human, but he wears a title. He wears a cloth. So that's the twofold. But the threefold is that, according to what this prophetess was saying, the people that expose him will also have to deal with the backlash. So I find it sad that all of these lives have to be torn apart, dismantled, and that this is going to be something that's difficult to recover from for all involved. So yeah, I watched that last night for a good bit, and then for whatever reason, it stalled. And for me, if you don't come back up, and it wasn't on my side, I don't, because my connection was actually really very good after our provider, our internet provider, made some repairs last night. The connection was pretty good, so it stalled. And for me, after a while, once it stalls, I just say forget it. And if it comes back up, then I'll watch it some more. But if it doesn't, then I just move on to other things. So I didn't finish hearing the message that she delivered last night. So, but yeah, I thought that was really very interesting. And I find it interesting because I know that this happens more often than is spoken of. And I think that is really very sad that these people in position, and not just position, not just like, they're not just the CEO or the VP, their position, their title, their responsibility is much greater, because it's about the souls. It's about the souls of those that they watch over. And how can you, as this young lady said last night, how can you watch over the souls when you are sleeping with them, when you are creating soul ties with them, when you, if you're the shepherd, but you're playing with the sheep, how are you able to watch the sheep? How are you able to monitor the sheep, especially if all of your attention is focused on one, and it is in a lustful way? There's no way that you can pay attention to the others that are around. So yeah, I found that a very interesting topic. It happens very often. People don't like to speak about their pastors in that way. They don't like to believe that their pastor is indeed only human. We do hold them to a higher standard, however, as we should, because of the title, because of the cloth, because of the anointing. We do hold them to a higher standard, but at the same time, they are indeed human, and they do make mistakes. And according to what this young lady was saying, is that we should not just blame the pastor, but also blame the person that the pastor is dipping with. Because in most cases, with the exception of those that are molested or raped, in most cases, the person lies down with the pastor willingly. And I could see some backlash coming from that, even though I was not reading the comments. I could see some backlash coming from that. I mean, it's just a common thing to oppose something of that nature. But she was saying that, you know, these people, women and men, who are sleeping with these pastors, men and women, should be held accountable as well. I mean, why just put it off on the pastors? And I believe a few, because she did mention this, we're talking about being, you know, the congregation being manipulated by the pastor. Well, in many cases there is a manipulation, but at some point in time you have to say, okay, this is not right. I should not be sleeping with this person, and come to your senses and not do it. But in many cases that's not the case. Even if you do feel manipulated, you do always have the right to say no. And in many of those cases they are not saying no because what he may have promised them, or she may have promised them, and you're looking at that versus looking at the fact that it's a wrong act. So yeah, I found it to be really very a really very interesting topic. And again, it's unfortunate that all of these lives are going to be turned upside down because of this. And even if the pastor does not get called out for it being a 15-year-old, because I mean the 15-year-old did lie about her age, even if he doesn't get called out about that, he will get called out about the fact that he was sleeping with someone that he shouldn't have been, as a man of the cloth, as a pastor, a leader, as a shepherd. I would assume that this was someone that was in his congregation, but at the same time, I can't say for certain because this prophetess did not specifically say that this young lady was, excuse me, at least not that I heard, because I didn't come on at the very beginning, but at least not what I heard her read back. She didn't specifically say that this young lady, this little girl, was a member of the church, even though she did touch on the topic of pastors and the congregation sleeping with one another. So yeah, it's a little bit iffy. And she brought up some great scriptures, and I will try to put those in the comment section. But she did bring up a couple of great scriptures about the fallout of such an act. So yeah, very interesting. I don't know that I'll get on here later. I'm not sure. Depends on how the day goes, what happens in the day, and yeah. So with that, I'll say now, peace and blessings. Remember to walk in your purpose, and know that I appreciate you.